Have you ever felt alone? Like the world is moving around you, but you're stuck in place, invisible to everyone else? Like you're lost in a crowd, unseen and unheard? It's as if you're surrounded by people, yet there's an invisible barrier that keeps you isolated. It's a feeling we all know, a universal ache in the human heart. This sense of disconnection can creep in at any moment, whether you're in a room full of friends or walking alone at night. Loneliness whispers doubts, magnifies fears, and casts a shadow over even the brightest days. It tells you that you're not enough, that no one cares. Life throws curveballs, and sometimes it feels like you're the only one who can't catch them. We face disappointments, losses, and betrayals. Relationships falter, dreams fade. The people we thought would always be there sometimes leave, and the plans we made for our future can crumble in an instant. And in those moments, the weight of our aloneness can feel unbearable. But there is hope. Even in the darkest times, there is a glimmer of light that can guide us through, a beacon in the darkness. This light can come from unexpected places. A kind word from a stranger, a smile from a passerby, or a memory that brings warmth to your heart. A love that never fails. His name is Jesus. He offers a love that is unconditional, a presence that is constant. In him, we find a friend who never leaves, a comforter who understands our deepest pains, and he promises, "I am with you always, even to the end of the age." Matthew 28:20. This promise is a reminder that no matter how alone we feel, we are never truly alone. His love is a light that can pierce through the darkest night, bringing hope and healing to our weary souls. Loneliness isn't just an emotion, it impacts us deeply. Studies show it can harm our physical and mental well-being, leading to anxiety, depression, and even physical ailments. When we feel isolated, we question our worth. We build walls, pushing others away out of fear of further hurt. This isolation creates a vicious cycle, deepening our sense of loneliness and despair. But God sees our pain. He hears our cries for connection, and He offers a love that heals, restores, and reminds us that we are never truly alone. Turn to Him. He is waiting. The Bible is filled with stories of people who faced loneliness and found solace in God's presence. These stories remind us that even in our most isolated moments, we are never truly alone. The presence of God is a constant, unwavering force that provides comfort and strength. Whether it was Moses in the desert, Elijah in the wilderness, or Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane, each found solace in their connection with the divine. King David, a man after God's own heart, knew the sting of betrayal and isolation. His life was marked by moments of profound loneliness, from fleeing King Saul to the betrayal by his own son Absalom. Yet, in these moments of despair, David turned to God, pouring out his heart in the Psalms. His words have resonated through the ages, offering a source of comfort and hope to countless individuals facing their own trials. In Psalm 23, he writes, "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me." Psalm 23:4. This powerful verse encapsulates the essence of David's faith. Despite the darkness that surrounded him, he held on to the belief that God was with him, guiding him through every perilous path. The valley of the shadow of death symbolizes the most challenging and frightening times in our lives. Yet David's trust in God's presence gave him the courage to face these fears head-on. David found comfort knowing that even in the darkest valleys, God was his shepherd, guiding and protecting him. The imagery of a shepherd is profound, as it conveys a sense of care, guidance, and protection. A shepherd's role is to lead the sheep to safe pastures, to protect them from predators, and to ensure their well-being. This metaphor illustrates the depth of God's love and commitment to us. Just as a shepherd knows each sheep by name, God knows us intimately and cares for us deeply. Like David, we can find peace in knowing that we have a shepherd who never leaves our side, who guides us through life's challenges with love and faithfulness. In our modern world, where we often face stress, uncertainty, and fear, the assurance of God's presence can be a source of immense comfort. We are reminded that we are not navigating this journey alone. With God as our shepherd, we can face each day with renewed strength and hope, trusting that He will lead us through every trial and triumph. The prophet Elijah also experienced profound loneliness. After a great victory over evil, he faced threats that sent him running for his life, hiding in a cave, feeling defeated and alone. But God met Elijah in his despair, not in a thunderous voice, but in a gentle whisper. He reminded Elijah of his presence and gave him the strength to continue. 1 Kings 19. God meets us where we are in the depths of our loneliness and whispers words of love, hope, and encouragement. He reminds us of our strength and empowers us to face our fears. Even Jesus, the Son of God, experienced the pain of loneliness. In the quiet, moonlit Garden of Gethsemane, he felt the weight of the world pressing down on him. The night was still, but his heart was heavy with sorrow. In the Garden of Gethsemane, facing betrayal and the weight of the world's sin, he cried out, "My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death." Matthew 26:38. His anguish was palpable, a deep, soul-crushing sorrow that many of us can relate to in our darkest moments. Yet even in his agony, Jesus sought his Father's comfort and strength. He knelt down, his face turned upward, seeking solace in the presence of his Father. This act of turning to God in his most vulnerable moment teaches us a profound lesson. He teaches us the power of prayer, of pouring out our hearts to God when we feel alone. In those moments of solitude and despair, prayer becomes our lifeline, our direct connection to the divine. It is in these quiet conversations with God that we find our strength renewed. Through Jesus' example, we learn that it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to feel the weight of our struggles and to express our pain. Jesus, in his humanity, showed us that vulnerability is not a weakness, but a path to divine comfort. It's okay to grieve, to hurt, to feel alone. These emotions are part of the human experience, and acknowledging them is the first step towards healing. In our moments of deepest sorrow, we can find solace in knowing that Jesus, too, felt these same emotions. God is big enough to handle our emotions and offer comfort in our pain. He invites us to come to him with our burdens, to lay them at his feet, and to trust in his infinite love and mercy. In his presence, we find the peace that surpasses all understanding, a peace that can calm the storm within our hearts. These stories remind us that we are not alone in our loneliness. God sees us, hears us, and understands our pain. He is always present, even when we don't feel him near. The Bible tells us that God is closer than our very breath. He knows the number of hairs on our heads. He collects our tears in a bottle. His love for us is relentless, unwavering, and unconditional. No matter what you're going through, no matter how isolated you may feel, God is with you, always. In a world that often feels cold and indifferent, God sees you. He sees your heartache, your fears, your dreams. He sees the real you, the person he created you to be. You are not invisible to him. He watches over you with a love that knows no bounds. Remember that you are seen, known, and cherished by the creator of the universe. When you feel like no one understands, know that God hears your every word. He listens to your joys and sorrows, your hopes and fears. He hears the silent prayers of your heart. Pour out your heart to him. Tell him everything. He is a safe place, a refuge for your soul. You are heard, acknowledged, and deeply loved. Most importantly, remember that you are loved. God's love for you is not based on your performance, your popularity, or your possessions. It is a love that is freely given, without condition or reservation. You are his beloved child, created in his image, and he delights in you. Let his love wash over you, filling you with peace, hope, and the assurance that you are never truly alone. While God's love is constant and unwavering, he also uses people to support us in our times of need. Reach out to a trusted friend, family member, pastor, or counselor. Share your struggles and allow others to love and support you. Join a church group, a support group, or volunteer in your community. Building meaningful connections with others can help combat loneliness and remind you of your inherent worth. Remember, you are not alone. God is with you always, and he has placed people in your life who care about you. Reach out, connect, and experience the power of community.